Okay, we are going to go live for the next hour or so. Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, sorry, no, it's right. We had everything right here. I think we are all good. So, should be here, yeah. There we go. We are live right now. We're going to talk a little bit about Mercedes Russell, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the kind of bad things. And I'm going to go at the Fever's front office here a little bit. The Dejanay Carrington tweet again. This is probably the worst response I've ever seen. This is the worst response I've ever seen. Like, Dejanay's tweet, I didn't even see this. This obviously was an hour ago. This is the worst response I've ever seen. So, she fouled somebody, and then immediately, after fouling somebody, tweeted white privilege. And Emmanuel Acho, and by the way, Emmanuel Acho is a dumbass in this. He equated Caitlin Clark missing the block and getting Jordan Canada in the head to what Dejanay Carrington did. A wind-up, double hand, miss everything, and then take clothesliner in the air. Like, he said Caitlin Clark did that. Emmanuel Acho is a dumbass. Emmanuel Acho has never watched a WNBA game that Caitlin Clark didn't play, and gets all his points from Trendy Hoop Stars page on Twitter. Like, the Caitlin Clark versus Jordan Canada one is the most textbook flagrant one ever, because you saw it. Like, she made some contact with her arm on the layup and it followed through on her head. It is the most absolutely, like, textbook flagrant one. I feel like the referees fucked it in 2024, because the referees did that a lot in 2024. But 2 years ago, Caitlin Clark picked up what should have been a flagrant one, and it was called as a common foul. That was not even close to what Dejanay Carrington did. Dejanay Carrington did an equivalent of Dylan Brooks on, intentionally took some out in the air. Caitlin came from her side, Dejanay Carrington came from behind. Like, she blindsided someone there. There's so big a difference, but Emmanuel Acho is a dumbass. Either way, Dejanay responds, I've never once claimed the assessments of the foul was white privilege. Yes, that was your assumption. What else could it be? What else could it have been? What happened in Indiana? Try exercising critical thinking. That's like me saying, I don't know. It's like me saying, it's like saying, Stephanie White coming out after the game, after screaming, that's bullshit, at the referee, and saying to the ref, it's like, I never once claimed that I said that foul was bullshit. I said that's bullshit. That could mean anything. Use your critical thinking skills. It is the logical equivalent of that. It's a logical equivalent of that. Try exercising critical thinking skills. You know I studied psych. Furthermore, and the last thing ignorant or ass time when it comes to speaking on white privilege, do your research on that one. Like, what do you tweeted white privilege after you got kicked out of a game? Like, what are you trying to make this some big thing? You studied psych. Cool. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Like, I have a degree in mathematics. It's been 5 years since I've finished my degree? I forgot all that shit. I forgot like 80% of what I learned in my undergrad in terms of the actual content. The reason I actually went to school at one of the top universities, might add, to educate myself in this exact subject. I would never use the term as a rhetorical weapon, knowing the historical and social weight it holds, without having the proper evidence substantiate it. You literally said white privilege after you kicked out of a game. What else is it supposed to mean? What is the reason? Well, if there's another reason why you said it and then tagged the Indiana Fever, say it. If there's another reason other than the foul, say it. Because there's footage of you tripping over kneeing Caitlin Clark, and then Caitlin doesn't even flop. You just kneed her, and then a foul got called, and you start doing that. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like, you have gained more in your career for fucking terrorizing Caitlin Clark than you have from playing basketball, which is the scariest part in terms of off-the-court things. She has gained more from terrorizing Caitlin Clark than playing basketball. And by the way, I think Dejanay Carrington's a pretty okay player. I think she's a decent player. I think she is a equivalent level player to a Sophie Cunningham. But like, so apparently now, we have to really watch into this. So, are you accusing Indiana? You tagged the Fever. So, apparently, the assumption is that it was about the foul, so it's not about the foul. Then this gets way more seriously. This gets way more serious. Because by tagging the Fever, we can now assume that the assumption is the Indiana Fever are showing favoritism towards their white players. That's a much more serious accusation. That is a much more serious accusation. That is like, if it wasn't about the foul and it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to a foul, that is a much more serious accusation, Dejanay. That's a much more serious one. You better have some proof by saying that. You better have some proof. And I do feel like Dejanay's not going to be suspended. She has to be suspended. Like, when you have got Grant Young, who might be one of the more, like, who is the most progressive of the people that will cover, like, publicly progressive of the people that cover the Fever. When he's calling for a suspension, you know something's wrong.
Dejanay Carrington should be suspended by the WNBA, and not because of her foul on Sophie Cunningham. I actually don't have a problem with the foul itself. It was definitely a hard hit on Cunningham's head, and I understand the ejection, but I don't think it was egregious or an unnecessarily dirty play.
Unnecessarily dirty, unnecessary contact. Like, it was pretty egregious. Like, as in, if she doesn't tweet that, no one's talking about this today. Like, let's be clear. It was a hard foul. It's a flagrant 2. It happens 35 times a season in the NBA, and it doesn't have all this news. It is the white privilege tweet.
My problem is with what Carrington did afterwards, writing white privilege and tagging the Fever in a social media post, clearly implying that race had something to do with what happened. It's a very serious and consequential thing for a WNBA player to imply. It's fine for WNBA players to complain about officiating. And
then the craziest thing about this is that after he posted this, Dejanay has now said that the white privilege tweet had nothing to do with her getting ejected. And that is an even bigger accusation. This is now a huge accusation, because you have either accused the league of showing favoritism towards players based on race. Like, you have either accused the league of that, or you've accused the Fever of that. Genuinely, that is, you got to have proof, because that is a much bigger accusation. And you got Robin Lundberg's statement leads to 2 follow-up questions. What did you mean, and what evidence do you have? And if Dejanay Carrington has evidence that the Indiana Fever or the WNBA are racist, that is more than this league promotes Caitlin Clark more than other players, no fucking shit they do that. Or the league didn't punish Sophie Cunningham for saying something in an interview in February. If that's the logic, then that's a suspension worthy. Because again, crying wolf on one of the most serious accusations you can throw at somebody should be a suspension. And again, because all that means is that if that's the case, nothing. If you actually have something to say, or actually have a complaint to make, or something actually does happen surrounding Dejanay that she's got, like, people won't believe it. Like, it's the Dejanay who cried wolf, and it is. She just said a bunch of words. She basically just said, all she said is that you just assumed I was talking about the foul, and I went to college. Like, What? Like, it's just a bunch of words. Like, she could have said, I never, like, you just assumed that. Again, it is the logical equivalent of a player shouting, that's bullshit towards a ref, and then complaining that the ref assumed that they were talking about a foul. It is the logical equivalent of that happening. Like, I don't know. Like, Dejanay Carrington's not a stupid person. She's not dumb. She's not dumb. She knows that she can put whatever word salad she wants, and her fans are going to agree with her, and her haters are going to disagree with her. That's what happens when you're polarizing. That's what happens when you're polarizing. And then you've got people on one extreme, like that dumbass Whitlock, saying that she should be banned from the WNBA for the foul. For a flagrant 2 foul. And I'm like, something happens 30 times a year in the NBA. And the WNBPA should be investigating this take very seriously. And because, again, this was a very much claim made, like, against one of their players, potentially, in Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, and all white players on the Indiana Fever. If we're being real here, this is a PA matter. This is a PA matter now because of the accusation by Dejanay Carrington. If this ends up being incorrect, which, let's be very clear, probably will, then Dejanay Carrington, like, the PA needs to defend their players, because there are a lot of players on the Indiana Fever that this now, there's only one of two things this can mean. Either the WNBA, or sorry, she tagged the Fever, not the WNBA. This is the only thing I can think of that what she meant from this, if it wasn't complaining about the foul, is that the Indiana Fever are essentially giving players preferential treatment because of their race. And because she tagged Indiana and didn't walk back on it, that is the only, like, for me, that's the only way. I could be wrong. And if someone else gives me an actual thing that she could have potentially made, we can discuss that then. But that is an extremely serious accusation. And if the Indiana Fever are doing that, and again, there's more evidence than, look, Caitlin Clark's on the front of the poster. Well, yeah, no shit. She's the reason why 20,000 people show up. She's the reason why 16,000 people show up at every game. Like, I'm sorry, they played, and if you want to say, oh, but they showed up for Kelsey Mitchell. They played in a barn when Kelsey Mitchell was playing for years. But yeah, it's Dejanay. As Melissa Smith said, here goes Dejanay. Oh my God. Like, the PA has to come out here. Like, I need players to start using that excuse, though. I really do. I need players to use this excuse. Caitlin Clark needs to use this excuse. I need players to use this excuse to try get out of Tex. Towards a ref after a call. Then complains saying the ref the ref just assumed the response was to the call. Oh my God. Like, like, it is, this is hilarious. This is hilarious. They never, I need a player to use it to get out of attack. But Now suddenly Caitlin Clark's involved in this now. But yeah, it's a mad one. It is a mad one. But so Mercedes Russell, we're going to talk about this one because I don't really want to talk about the Dijonais situation for the entirety of the stream again. I really don't. I really don't. So we're going to talk about Mercedes Russell, and we're going to talk about potentially why Mercedes Russell could be a good signing. And do I believe that Mercedes Russell is the right player for the Fever? No. Do I believe Mercedes Russell is the right player for this current era of the WNBA? Hell no. Hell no. Do I believe that Mercedes Russell is somebody that at the WNBA level is a good player? No. But Mercedes Russell is one of those players that was good back in the day. She was good back in the day. And those type of players tend to be good for the Fever. The aerial powers of the world. The Odyssey Sims. Like, the Fever have this weird thing that they somehow get the best out of washed players. They just do. Like, say what you want. The Indiana Fever tend to get the best out of washed players. And they did it with all the players last year. And Mercedes Russell is like turbo washed. She is completely and utterly washed. Like, she averaged like 1 point per game last year. But she was good at some stage in her career. And this is her last chance. Like, if she is good with the Indiana Fever, we saw it with Odyssey Sims. Odyssey Sims made some half decent money. If it turns out that she ends up playing well, she could get herself back in the league. Like, she could potentially get herself back in the league. So those players tend to do well in Indiana because it's last chance saloon for them. Because if they play bad in Indiana, we've seen it. Has a player ever played badly in Indiana and didn't go to UConn and stayed in the league? No. Even some players play well in Indiana, like Ariel Powers, and are out of the league. No player has ever played badly in Indiana and stayed in the league. The Christy Wallaces of the world are out of the league. I wouldn't even say Erica Wheeler played badly in Indiana because Erica Wheeler was super in the 2023 season before Caitlin Clark got there. She averaged 10 points and 6 assists a game or something? But yeah, like, that is the only... I'm trying to think of a positive thing because you might be saying, oh, they need size. There's no good team that's running a slow 6'6" player. Maybe they're trying to zag while other teams are zigging. They're going to go and zag. I don't know. But yeah, it is. It's just one of those things where I think a lot of people were kind of hoping that the Fever could do better. And so did I. Like, Mercedes Russell is the most uninspiring signing ever. Like, it's absolutely the most uninspiring signing ever made. I really do hope that she can prove me wrong. And these are the type of signings that the Fever made all of last season. Shea Petty as well. And they worked. That's the one thing I'll always give the Fever credit for, is that I didn't like the Odyssey Sims signing. I didn't like the Ariel Powers signing. I liked the Ari McDonald signing. That was the only one that I liked. I liked the Ari signing. I didn't like the Shea Petty signing. I didn't like the Kyra Lambert signing. I didn't like the Bree Hall signing. I didn't like any of those signings last year. And they all pretty much worked out other than Kyra Lambert. So these type of mid-season signings tend to work from the front office. So we have to talk about it, and we have to trust the process, I guess. Like, we can complain about the front office, and I'm going to talk about that in another video about why it could, like, this signing doesn't make any sense. But even if we're talking about the signing, some of the signings made no sense last year. Like, Bree Hall made no sense. No sense whatsoever. Kyra Lambert made no sense whatsoever. All of these signings that the Indiana Fever have made have been, like, mid-season, have been, let's go and bring in vets. And maybe vets are players that can come in and make an impact short term. And we don't need much out of her. We literally need, can you get us a couple of rebounds here and there? Are you cool with DNPing? And are you okay with playing, with coming in and in your very limited minutes, giving all you've got because she is slow? And that's all you can really hope from Mercedes Russell, because Mercedes Russell has never scored more than, I think, is it 6 points per game in her career. But, like, teams were paying her big money. Like, big money. She made a max contract last season. And, like, the only reason she got cut last year was pretty much because, she got cut because they had Cam Brink and they wanted to sign Julie Vanloo. They needed to bring her in, or they needed to cut her to sign Vanloo, and Brink was coming back, so they didn't need another big. And she was unprotected. So I can kind of see what they were doing there. But it just feels like this is another uninspiring signing for the Indiana Fever. And it just feels like, unless somehow this works out, we have to really question the front office. But there is a world where this works out, and that's the maddest part about this, is that this genuinely, this could work out just because she's big, and I don't know. Like, do we trust the front office? Do we not? Like, this is kind of the last chance saloon for the front office, because they didn't have to sign anyone. They've been playing without Dantas the whole year. He's only played in like 8 games. They didn't have to sign him, and they could have waited till after the World Cup. They had an entire World Cup break where they could have watched every single team in the league, and there's about, outside of USA, there's about 4 centers that are in the WNBA. They could have watched the whole World Cup and seen who was killing it. World Cup has ranking placements. They could have seen what non-WNBA player was killing it. And I'm pretty sure they place up to 8th in the World Cup. And they really could. Like, they really could go and could have waited. So, front office, they're kind of going for, they have to kind of go for this one. They have to go for it. Like, they have to get this one right. Otherwise, I think Amber might lose her job. Like, I really think Amber might lose her job, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help that Amber is an op as well. Like, it doesn't help that before she signs Sid Colson and DeWanna Bonner and Bree Turner, who have all gone out of their ways to go back to celebrating the fans that called them every slur under the sun after that Chicago game, to shit on the people that supported them during that time. And Amber's an op. Like, before all that, the first thing she did was to take a picture with 2 people who got fired from their jobs because of their uncontrollable hate towards Caitlin Clark. It is what it is. But yeah, what do you guys think? But I actually have to talk about something here with Sophie Cunningham. And look, like, you don't... Thank you so much for the $5. Can I prove an example of flagrant foul in the NBA that was as dangerous? Carrington foul didn't lead to a suspension. No, but the WNBA in the last 3 seasons, I think the Carrington foul and the Sophie foul are an equivalent. I think Carrington's is more dangerous, but there's a 0%. There's no argument whatsoever that Sophie Cunningham's was intentional, whereas some people make the argument that Carrington's was only reckless. I don't, but some people are going to make that argument. But it is what it is. But yeah, I do think that based on WNBA standards, it's not a suspension, but without question, a flagrant 2, and anyone arguing otherwise doing it in bad faith. But we got to talk about Sophie Cunningham right here, and there is a media member. There is a media member that tweeted something that I think is I would use the word disgusting. I would use the word disgusting to tweet about Sophie Cunningham. And I would say this is one of the most disgusting things. So, Sophie Cunningham got traded from the Phoenix Mercury. We all know that. Based on what she has said, they traded her. They basically that they would have let her veto the trade, but she was happy to go to Indiana. Indiana wanted her. She was okay leaving Indiana. That was it. So, if you guys don't know, there was some what seem like complete lies about Sophie Cunningham that are being spread as fact. And a media member, after hearing about the book, tweets out, and by the way, this is the same media member that laughed about Monica Zanano being compared to a man by Sydney Colson, of all people, comparing Monica Zanano's looks to a man, and then said, "Oh, I'm not trying to insult Monica Zanano. I think that's I think that was a very good-looking man she got compared to." And I'm like, "Oh, you're digging your grave." But today, the same media member that I'm not even willing to give him a name at this stage. They said, will she really talk about why she left Arizona? She got traded. And every single person knows what the implication is here. Every single person knows. Because the prevailing narrative on Twitter is that Sophie Cunningham got kicked out of the Phoenix Mercury because she had an affair with the CEO of the company had an affair with Sophie Cunningham. There's no evidence of that. Both of them came out and said it was false. And if you guys don't know that where this all came from, there was a lawsuit that was thrown out that was basically a lawyer, from as far as I'm aware, a lawyer who basically specializes in non-bullshit lawsuits, who has been responsible for every lawsuit against the Mercury. He was also, I think, again, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll retract it. I think he was the same lawyer that sued the Mercury on behalf of the former interim coach, because the interim coach went for the job after finishing last place and didn't get the job, and that Nate Tibbetts got the job. And because Nate Tibbetts, as a head coach at the post from the NBA, was making more money than a WNBA interim coach, she sued for gender-based discrimination. I think it was the same lawsuit. But during the lawsuit, there was a line, and it was something along the lines of the person being sued. It was they said they overheard. I think I have just a general thing. It was basically said, I heard the accused, it was somebody else went to that person to say they heard the accused say that they heard that somebody else slept with Sophie Cunningham. So through 5 different, so basically playground rumors. It's I studied Like, we all know this. We all went to school that there's these random rumors about teachers or random rumors about these things and being like, oh yeah, you know, on this trip, X teacher hooked up with a student. Is that true? It's like, no, obviously not. But stuff gets spread so much, it's fact. And Cindy Brunson, I said her name. She basically said in here, will she re-talk why she left Arizona? And someone genuinely said, it's like, as a long-time regular season ticket holder, I think you as part as the org. It disappoints to see you use Sophie Cunningham for cheap jabs. And Cindy Brunson replies, sorry you feel that way. I'm genuinely curious as to why she left. Like, everyone knows what that tweet means. Like, everyone knows what that tweet means. Because it was less than 24 hours after the same person tweets, I'm team Dejanay all day. I'm very, very clear. In all circumstances, there's no circumstance Dejanay's in the right. There is no scenario where Dejanay's in the right. There is no scenario. You can hate Sophie Cunningham and love Dejanay Carrington. There is no scenario that what happened from the moment Dejanay Carrington clotheslined her till Dejanay Carrington tweeted white privilege that Sophie Cunningham did anything wrong. And then she said, since Sophie initiated contact with Dejanay's neck, basically, Dejanay walked up and grabbed Sophie Cunningham, and Sophie pushed Dejanay off her, and because she's taller than Dejanay, hit her here. Like, what are we doing? The referees were like, yeah, was it... see who had to be restrained by several people was not the player wearing blue. We know who the aggressor was. No shit. If I punch you, and I'm not saying Dejanay punched her, but hypothetically, if you have a bunch of friends, and there's a policeman right there, and I punch you, like referees, because if Sophie Cunningham goes for Dejanay, she's gone, and I punch you, and your friends are dragging you back while you have a busted mouth, just so that the police don't arrest you as well as me. That doesn't mean you're the aggressor, you fucking dumbass. And then immediately goes, oh, why did she leave? Why did she leave Arizona? I'm just curious. We all know what the internet rumor is. And we can't, like, we're not going to pretend. And on the off chance that she's been living on the terminally online Cindy Brunson has been living under a rock. On the off chance the terminally online Cindy Brunson has been living under a rock, I offer my profuse apologies. If the terminally online Cindy Brunson has not seen something that every single person has spoke about a false thing as fact. Like, I offer my profuse apologies to Cindy Brunson. And I am making an assumption here. I am making an assumption because the assumption that everybody has seen the rumors. That is the prevailing narrative for this. And after all of this, we know who you know she's friends with as well. Good old friends with good old GM at a Fever. And again, if you don't know, Cindy Brunson came out and said in Caitlin's rookie year that basically that the Indiana Fever have to apologize for Caitlin. Basically, the Indiana Fever, I think I'm absolutely paraphrasing. I'm going to be, like, I could be wrong with this. It was said on a Twitter space. It was not written. But basically implied, she said something along the lines of, Caitlin Clark is not going to speak out, so the Indiana Fever need to apologize for Caitlin. Basically, we're sorry that we employ Caitlin Clark. You know, sorry to you other teams, like, look, it's our bad, we should have cut her. Like, obviously, I'm jumping to massive conclusions there. But I'm like, at this stage, that's what it is. And you go on threads, and it's the fucking JC Sheldon greater than Caitlin Clark narrative all over again. If you don't remember, in 2024, there was this weird thing that JC Sheldon should have been taken over. That Caitlin Clark should have been the 7th pick in the draft, and JC Sheldon should have went number 4. And that if it wasn't for the JC Sheldon was because of what happened with Ohio State, JC Sheldon went lower than she should have in the draft, and that Angel Reese only went 7 because she did this. And it's like, what? Like, Angel Reese had a regression in her senior season and couldn't score layups in college. And yes, everyone was wrong about Angel Reese. everyone focused on Angel Reese's weakness and not her strengths. And her weaknesses are still her weaknesses, but her strengths are unbelievable. But it's a mad thing. And again, Sophie Cunningham is fair game. Sophie Cunningham is fair game. I think it's as simple as that. Sophie Cunningham is fair game. I think you can translate everything against Sophie Cunningham amongst the old WNBA. You can translate it all to a victimless crime shall have no punishment. And if Sophie Cunningham or Caitlin Clark are the victim, there is no victim. All this, why did Sophie leave? And yeah, she used to work for, she was working for the Phoenix Mercury organization, as far as I'm aware, when this happened. Or still had some ties to the Phoenix Mercury organization. And again, defending Alyssa Thomas when she clearly went for Caitlin Clark. Like, madness. Absolute madness. And yeah, it's I do really have to talk about this again even more, because obviously I've already talked about this, but the WNBA have to do something now. Like, they have to. And at the end of the investigation, something serious has to happen, as in long-term suspension for Dejanay, or if it turns out that what she said is correct, that the Indiana Fever are racist as an organization, something serious needs to happen to Indiana. As in, GM fired, owner forced to sell the team, that level of punishment. Because that is because Dejanay has tried to post, she put in word salad that has essentially said that her tweet of white privilege had nothing to do, in any way, had nothing to do with the foul from Sophie Cunningham. If that is the case, and I don't believe it is, I fully believe that she thinks that just denying that that's what it was about is going to make people believe her. Like, people are going to... Like, I think that's what she thinks, and I don't think she's thinking any further from it. But that's basically what she's done. It says she majored in African American Studies and psychology. A double major is not 2 degrees. I don't think she ever said she had 2 degrees. I'm going to be real. I don't think she ever said. So, Ken Swift, you're right. Oh, thank you for the $5, Ken Swift. You're right. Either repercussions to character and the Fever. Problem is she doesn't work for the Fever, so not sure what her angle is. Yeah, it is. It's as simple as that. Like, we now have extremely serious accusations. And when something goes to the level where, if true, like multiple people's lives will be ruined, you have to have enough evidence. And not only that, if this is the Dejanay who cried wolf situation, like, if this is nonsense and this is just a way to cover your ass because you said something dumb, you tweeted something dumb coming out after a game, if this is a way to try to cover your ass, like, this doesn't stop anything. Like, she might think, okay, yeah, this was all, you assumed wrong. I'm sorry, like, tweeting out white privilege in rage after being kicked out of a game with adrenaline high is a significantly lesser offense than every other thing that could have been meant by this statement. It's one of those things where this is here. No, this has not happened. Like, people are like, oh, she's calling out the system of bias and similar fouls that white players weren't upgraded or met with the same consequence. What are we talking about? Name one white player who chased somebody down, took them out in the air, full whack by the head, busted their mouth. Yes, players, white and black, have missed blocks and hit people in the head. Angel Reese did it, Caitlin Clark did it. They called the correct call, flagrant one. Because Angel Reese was clearly going for the block on Caitlin Clark. If you miss a block and hit somebody in the head, it's a flagrant one. DeJournay, by the way, has done that to so many people. She's done it to Jess Shepherd. She's done it to Skylar Diggins. She did it another time that I can't remember. I can't remember the person exactly last season. She's done it so many. She did it to Kate Martin. Like, these are all flagrant fouls. Because there's at least some deniability. The ball's already in the basket by the time this picture here was taken. The ball's already in the basket by the time. Like, she joined up two hands and it came down like that. She didn't even fully extend her arm. She went like that. Like, it could not be more obviously a flagrant 2. And even if it's not intentional, it's so egregiously mistimed that it's a flagrant 2. It is like, this is a sending off in rugby. You would be said it is the most egregiously mistimed. By this logic, if going for the ball is there, it means you're allowed to take, if this is a flagrant 1, it means you're literally allowed to take people out in the air. You're not allowed to do that. And it's so different. People come from the side. People come from the front. She went through the back, which is so much more dangerous. It is the most egregious flagrant 2. And people are comparing a Caitlin Clark play where, I shit you not, if you look at it, she misses the ball by this much. She tries to block the ball, just misses the ball, hits her arm, and it follows through with her face. Yes, follow through on the face is a flagrant 1. The refs fucked it 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the refs fucked it. This was the most egregious play we've seen. This is the most obvious flagrant 2 foul we've seen. DeJournay, you got away with yanking a player down by her ponytail last year without getting tossed. You got away with that. And it was a white player. Like, if that is the logic, that is the systemic thing in the league, what the fuck are we talking about? Caitlin Clark got teed up for tripping. She got teed up for tripping. She tried to catch her balance near a referee. And she got teed up. The referee, Caitlin Clark, has been teed up for miscontrolling a ball, trying to flick it up into her hands with her feet. She's been teed up for pointing at a scoreboard. And she's been teed up for clapping. We're just standing there clapping. Yes, she was shit stirring. She's been teed up for standing there clapping. What are we doing? Like, Caitlin has a blooper reel of funny texts. Like, multiple of Caitlin's texts are going to be on the funniest texts of all time compilations. Like, what are we doing? And everyone's being like, oh, Sophie Cunningham didn't get the same coverage last year. Yeah, she did. And they're like, oh, Sophie Cunningham did it out of retaliation. 50% of people love Sophie Cunningham for it. 50% of people hated Sophie Cunningham for it. The difference is that she made no lie. She said nothing about it. She was like, yeah, I did that shit. And second of all, not only did she, yeah, I did that shit, she didn't go out and tweet white privilege or like, she didn't tweet something out. She genuinely didn't tweet something out like this shit. Like, this is Kennedy Carter type shit. At least Kennedy Carter didn't deny that she meant to do it. Kennedy Carter never denied that she meant to do it. She tweeted out shit about Caitlin Clark. She never at any stage pretended like she didn't go for Caitlin Clark. But now we're at the stage where these accusations now, because DeJournay has gone and like she has now gone and said it was nothing to do with the foul that just happened. We then have to evaluate what DeJournay meant and what evidence she has. And right now, based on us not knowing anything about the Indiana Fever, I don't know. But the WNBA has to investigate the Indiana Fever. And if nothing is if nothing was done in the Indiana Fever, then DeJournay needs to be suspended, and it's not a short-term suspension. Like, it's not a short-term suspension. if this is found out that Dejanay is just making up stuff about the Indiana Fever. I think just deleting the thread post and letting it blow over was the best chance she could get to have no punishment from this. And even still, the thread post is what? Based on the league standard, going to be a 1 game suspension. This now is bringing an entire organization into disrepute with a very serious accusation. And if that's not what she's accusing, then I don't have a fucking clue what she's meant to mean. I don't have a clue. Like, it seemingly makes no sense whatsoever if that's not the accusation she's making now. And if it turns out that the Fever did something again, you go and punish the Fever to the extent, like you fire every single person in the Indiana Fever organization that is responsible for, being racist, because there is no place in the world for that. But if it turns out that this was just a heated thing and she's trying to save her ass by making even more serious by not realizing she's making even more serious accusations, then it's not. This shouldn't be like a 1 game, 2 game thing. This should be a rest of season suspension. Right now, if it turns out that what Dejanay is saying is completely unsubstantiated, like has no proof, or even worse, is completely made up, then it should be a rest of season suspension. And I don't even know. I'm not entirely sure if Dejanay is in this league next year. I really am not sure if she is. I think there's a chance that she's out of the league next year. I think she might, in the same way as, to be fair, no, she won't be. But she could be like Sophie Cunningham, playing on minimum deals. I think Sophie's probably cost herself $300,000-400,000 because of all this shit. But it's now at the stage where it's like Dejanay's probably cost herself a lot of money. So this is the weirdest thing that I think we've seen. Why is the lieutenant governor of Indiana tweeting about Stephanie White being fired? Why is the lieutenant governor of Indiana tweeting about Stephanie White being fired? I don't love Stephanie White as a coach. I think this is her last year, by the way. I don't see Stephanie White being a long-term coach for the Indiana Fever. I think she's going to be in the league long-term. I don't think she's going to be the Fever coach long-term. But at the same time, I do feel like she's going to be in the league for quite a while. That being said, I don't really know what is the point of this. What do we gain for this? It is you've got politics. I don't know. Is that a politician? The lieutenant governor. I think that's a politician. You've got politicians talking about a coach being fired, and I don't love the way Stephanie White talks about her players in public. I don't, and anyone who thinks that I do, there's enough evidence of me not liking that. I just don't at all. That being said, it's a sports thing, but it's now gone so out there that it's you've now got fucking government calling for a coach's head. If the Indiana Fever lose in the first round of the playoffs, Stephanie White's fired. I don't think there's too much on that. If they lose in the first round of the playoffs, the conversation is then, what the fuck do they do? do they tear it down? Do they let Kelsey walk for nothing? Do they trade Caitlin? Like, we have these conversations. Do they choose Steph? Do they choose Caitlin? All of these things. These are conversations that are to be had at the end of the season. Until then, like, nothing is going to be done. Like, I don't see the point in the government. Like, I don't see what benefit there is to the government getting involved with with a coaching hire for a team. Like, it's all gone crazy. Like, it's gone crazy. Like, it is so funny though. Like, obviously, my friend, like, you guys might not think it, but I have friends in real life. Like, I played, you guys might not think it again. A lot of my friends come from basketball. I played basketball my entire life. Like, again, my national team jersey from when I played was here. Like, most of my best friends are from the sport of basketball. And anytime I meet up with them, they just laugh about the league. They're like, oh my God, I saw the white privilege tweet. It's like, how many points do you think Enes Kanter is going to score a game? The league is a joke, isn't it? This whole league is a joke. Being like, oh, did you see Sophie Cunningham going viral for the point? Like, I don't think people understand that, like, this type of thing is like it's making a mockery of the league. And the league didn't do anything to stop it. Again, Stephanie White doesn't help herself. She doesn't help herself. Like, no matter what Stephanie White said, like, she just can't help herself. It feels like Stephanie White to the Indiana Fever is a, like, to the players themselves, is trying to is a good coach, is behind them, and then publicly it feels like she's scared to lose her spot in the sisterhood, because everyone talks about Steph's crew, that 2024 Connecticut Sun team. Steph wrote the Caitlin rules, and her former teammates are executing the Caitlin rules. Like, that is a fact. Her former teammates are the ones executing, or her former players are the ones executing the Caitlin rules. The way she's talking about it publicly, like, I don't know if she's doing what's being advised. And at the same time, look, that part of coaching the Fever is not a job I'd wish on anybody. Where you're trying to put out fires everywhere. But, like, now you've got the freaking government trying to get you fired. It's like, everyone being like, they're trying to drive a wedge between us all. It's like, it seems like most of it's towards her. It genuinely seems like most of it is towards her. And it's just one of those things where the Stephanie White experience has gotten bad. Like, at least Christy Sides, they all just hated Christy Sides. And, like, I always felt like Christy Sides never made the conversation. Like, I thought Christy Sides did a good job. Outside of the basketball conversation, I thought she was, like, she did a great job with certain things. A really good job with certain things. Like, team morale, keeping them together. There was a lot of really good things Christy Sides did. And at no stage would you hear Christy Sides defending a player taking out one of their team, like, one of her players. And even still, she said she was talking about it, and she was like, oh yeah, I mean, it wasn't intentional. Even her own coach couldn't even confirm. She goes, I think the intent was to make a play on the ball. I don't think that's what her intent was. He couldn't even confidently say. Her own coach couldn't even confidently say that she didn't try to go for Sophie Cunningham's head. But Sophie Cunningham's coach did. Not even her own coach fully did it. And she doesn't ever help herself. It's gone too far when government officials are trying to get a coach fired. It has gone too far. Like, I have never seen stuff like that happen before in sports. I have never seen that. Really. I had never, ever, ever seen that. This happened before. That is way too far. But still, she doesn't help herself. She doesn't help herself. Like, even, like, this is, you could have absolutely said, without saying, oh, Dejanay does this, Dejanay does that, and trying to hype up Dejanay. You could have came out and said something along the lines of, like, we all saw it in real time. We all saw the replays. It was definitely a flagrant 2. The referees made the right call. And whether or not it's intentional, I really hope it wasn't. I really hope it wasn't, and it was just a mistimed play on the ball. Like, there's a way of saying that doesn't try to throw Sophie Cunningham under the bus publicly. And again, maybe she's saying something different privately, and that's the one bit of hope I can give. But still, when it's gotten so far as to say, like, when it's gotten so far as now you are in a position where your government are trying to call for your head, it's now getting bad. And I know this is from, was it 2 days ago? Or yesterday. I only saw this today. Or say, yesterday morning. I only saw this today, which is why the video is late, and the video is probably coming out Tuesday. There's a reason for that. But yeah, that is it. And the last thing I want to talk about is this. Where is it? I'm going to talk about this. We got to talk about the WNBA media. So we got to show this picture here. We got to be very clear. I got to get one picture out. So we got this one here. So the WNBA media have done exactly what has been said, has been expected. Exactly what has been expected. Because we heard it loud and clear today. I'm not even going to play the clips, but Ken Swift shared it here. Basically, when they called the flagrant 2 on Thomas after slow-mo film circulated, ESPN hosts were upset. The narrative was being made because it wasn't game speed. Now, when the flagrant 2 is called, ESPN says you have to slow down the film and judge it properly because it looks worse at game speed. And they said it should be a flagrant 1. Make it make sense. And I tweeted out, this is my opinion, a victimless crime should not be punished. And when the victim is a member of the Fever, there's no victim. When the person that gets hit is a member of the Fever, and then you have a media member saying that Sophie initiated the contact with Dejanay's neck, and she should have been ejected, and not Dejanay. Sophie should have been ejected, not Dejanay. This is literally 5 seconds before that. So Dejanay, after clotheslining Sophie with a bloody mouth, puts 2 hands on Sophie Cunningham's jersey, and Sophie Cunningham pushes Dejanay off her. And because, again, she's taller, hits her here. So basically, Sophie is taken out and then grabbed, and because she gets off the player, and by the way, Sophie Cunningham would have got herself ejected if KK Timpson hadn't dragged her out of the way. Let's be very clear. Like, you pretty much have a player in Sophie Cunningham who would absolutely have got herself chucked. She would have got herself chucked. And you've got Cindy Brunson out here saying, it's actually Sophie that should have been chucked. Why? Because Dejanay knocked her on her ass, busted her mouth, knocked her out of the air, busted her mouth, and then afterwards, when Sophie got up, grabbed her, and she retaliated in the most minor way ever. In the most minor way. And the media, this is okay. The media, this is okay. That is the coach. The media, both of these are okay. According to the media, both of those possessions are okay and they're nothing. And actually, Sophie is the aggressor because she retaliated. Again, they literally said, because Cindy Brunson came out and said, because Sophie Cunningham is, her players had to get her away, therefore she was the aggressor. Again, it is the logical equivalent to if on the street there's a bunch of police around, and I punch you, and all of your friends knowing that there's a bunch of police around are like, we're getting our friend away, because if our friend punches you back, he's getting arrested too. But if we get our friend away, I'm getting arrested, and whatever damage I've done is on me. Like, it is straight up an embarrassment. It is an embarrassment from the media, and like, they don't even try to hide it. They don't even try. We saw Caitlin Clark's name pop up yesterday in talk about Sophie Cunningham. They don't even try. They don't even try. And they literally, they don't even try to hide it. This is the most obvious. Every NBA player is like laughing at this. Even the Alyssa Thomas one. The NBA players are reacting to it and are like everyone knew with the first knee. They're like, oh damn, that's a sneaky knee right there. Oh God, she got her in the neck. Oh, and then she tried to stomp on her for good measure. Like, every player was like, oh yeah, I saw that. Oh, that's a Draymond shit. Oh, she tried to stomp on her. Like, obviously flagrant 2. How did they miss all of that? And every NBA player that you see look at this is like laughing, and they're like, yeah, obviously it's a flagrant 2. Obviously it's a flagrant 2. It's so funny. But the WNBA people are like, I'm surprised they didn't even say, they said it wasn't even a foul. And then they're like, oh, you know who actually should be ejected? Sophie Cunningham. Why? Because she got tackled in the air and she retaliated. And not even retaliated in a way that was crossing a line. Like, if the referees called a tech on Sophie Cunningham, they would have said it wasn't enough. They're actually trying to say that Dejanay Carrington should have stayed on the floor and Sophie Cunningham should have been ejected. Like, that for me is like, there are certain lines where it's like, you are so far gone that this is not about basketball anymore and you cannot be trusted to talk about basketball. It's like saying that Sophie Cunningham didn't deserve to be chucked last year for going after JC Sheldon. Every single person in the arena knew that Sophie deserved to be chucked, including Sophie Cunningham. It's like saying that Alyssa Thomas didn't deserve to be chucked when she got Angel Reese. It's like saying Marina Mabry didn't deserve to be chucked when Caitlin's walking backwards holding her eye and Marina Mabry plows her onto the ground. Oh wait. The ref saw the replay and didn't chuck Marina Mabry. Oh shit, maybe I'm wrong there. Like, if Sophie hadn't grabbed and been held back by KK, she would have, like, I'm not going to say rip off Carrington's wig, but like, Sophie would have done something to get her ejected if KK Timpson hadn't gotten away. And Sophie would have earned her ejection. That's all I'm going to say. Sophie would have earned her ejection. There would have been a brawl. They both would have been kicked out. KK Timpson stopped Sophie Cunningham from doing anything. But they're trying to get Sophie ejected when she didn't do anything. Like, she could have, like, she genuinely, if you're going to eject somebody, earn it. Carrington earned that ejection. Not only did she take Sophie out in the air, she grabbed her jersey when she got up. She earned the ejection. Like, she picked up a flagrant 2 and a technical foul and all of it. And then if it turns out that you can just take someone out in the air and if you take somebody out in the air and they react in any way other than just standing up and saying, good job, thank you, and shaking your hand and walking off, that it's an ejection, then why wouldn't every team do that? Why wouldn't you just send a goon in? I'm sorry, if Sophie got ejected for what she did, I would genuinely say we have our Grace Van Slooten, who doesn't play? Van Slooten doesn't play, and Mercedes Russell. 2 of you don't play. You guys are our goons. Whatever star is on the other team, You go and get yourself chucked. And your job is to make the star of that team retaliate. And as soon as they put a hand near you, you go down and drop, and you're getting them kicked out. Playoffs. We don't need to do it in the regular season. Playoffs, you are goons. Like, if retaliating by pushing somebody off you who has you grabbed is an ejection, then Natasha Cloud should have been ejected for pushing the referee. Like, then Caitlin Clark should have been ejected for allegedly pushing the referee. Even though, unironically, like, based on what the referee said Caitlin did, she should have been ejected. She obviously didn't, but still. This is awful. This is really awful. My Achilles are shot, no competitive play. I tried. I did play semi-pro this year. I sat on a bench semi-pro, but I did technically play on a semi-pro team. Sophie's 100% in the wrong. She identifies a basketball player in her bio highly offensive. Jesus Christ, thank you for the $10. But yes, I'm going to end the stream right there. And for everybody who is complaining, calling me a hypocrite for talking about the drama more than the basketball, you got me. You got me. I would love to. If this league was in a position where there was more going on than the bullshit, and I could go and cover the basketball full time, you better believe I would. All I gotta say is that right now, the way this league is, what the media has done with this league, like, we're at a spot where I think it's really, really difficult to completely separate away from the drama, because you go on ESPN, it's drama, you go on this. And as somebody who realistically is an aggregator of the news, unfortunately the news is non-basketball. I wish the news was more basketball. And I have a video coming about the Olivia Miles game yesterday, which is incredible. And you've even got, like, Bill Simmons laughing, being like, they have Olivia Miles and they treat Olivia Miles like she's a nuisance because it's basketball. They want it to be drama. And she's not wrong. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. And yeah, I can't wait till it becomes more basketball. I can't wait. I still watch nearly every game just so I know what I'm talking about and not just making stuff up like most of the media. But yeah, that is the video. That is the stream. Sorry. I will see you guys. Thank you for the $5, James. Wait. What happened? I gotta go to bed. Problem is not just the old fans. You gotta get the media out too. You gotta get the old media. Just kidding.